I deserve it, I make it worth some, don't care what you're worth. I'm on my block still, tell me why would I leave, this shit on my turf.
Alright, the 2024 XXL freshman list is honestly embarrassing. If you just watched that clip I played you, it was one of the list freestyles, and you probably laughed, which unfortunately really sums up XXL in 2024. A joke. However, it wasn't always like this. There was a time when each spot in XXL's freshman list was coveted, and the XXL list dropping was not only a huge moment and achievement for the rappers featured on it, but something for us as fans to look forward to and even look back on as legendary. So I'm going to go over how terrible this year's list is, how legendary XXL used to be, and finally what they could do to maybe save it. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's start with this year's list, and I'm not going to lie, it's absolutely horrid. This is probably the worst list ever, and keep in mind, maybe you're not that tapped in, I'm guessing you are, XXL's lists have been declining rapidly. So this is like a new low. And anyways, let's go over it. So first they have Lay Banks. She's like this TikTok rapper. She had a really bad song go viral on TikTok. I hate that song. Like I've never hated a song in my life. It's just so bad. It's like, God. It's that one where it's like Lady Boner, it's like, oh God, my ears, like, you know what I mean? Lady Boner gone. Then they have a girl named Maya the Dawn. Never heard of her. I swear I'm not sexist. This other dude named Big X the Plug. Don't know who that is. By the way, when I say I don't know who these people are, trust me, like most people do not know who they are, because I'm like way too chronically online. Huncho, okay, I've heard of him. He's cool. I don't know about him being a freshman, but you know, cool. Skilla Baby, he's cool too. Cash Cobain. Cash Cobain is probably the most valid artist on this list. He's very talented. If you don't know, he's like a New York drill producer. He also makes freaky drill. There's the Mexican OT, Rich Amiri. Some of you guys know that is my favorite rapper. Bossman D-Lo, Forbats, who's like an industry plant, but he's cool, he's talented. Garlip, and the beats are by Southside. So honestly, out of this entire list, I know like 6 of them, and only one of them is good. You know what I mean? If I'm being honest. So yeah, this list is pretty horrible. So here's where I'm gonna say it's lacking. I feel like XXL's always probably had certain artists. By the way, a lot of these artists are just on this list because they're signed, all right? So XXL's always had artists that are featured on the list that, you know, were probably put into labels and whatnot. But it was always balanced out by some artists, like at least the majority of the artists, or half at least, of people who are culturally relevant. And I'm just talking about recently. Before that, it was like almost everyone. Everyone really deserved their spot. Recently, it's been a lot of like no names, randoms, people with like artificial buzz. We're just like, wow, this is not really for the culture at all. The crazy part about this to me is that people have been saying this about XXL for years, and they're just ruining their brand. Like I've never seen someone just throw something that was so beautiful away, you know? And I'm going to talk about why it was so cool, but I just want to talk about like the mistake they're making right now. Like nobody in this entire list, even like Cash Cobain, he's cool. At the end of the day, like no artist on this list is like really culturally relevant, other than maybe Cash Cobain. The rest are all like just label shills. That makes sense, and that's not really what people want to say. So I'm gonna give some more people that could be put on it. So Bobolam put out his 2024 BBL freshman list. So first of all, it is a bit questionable. He put Anicia, Bear One Boss, Ian, Laserdym, Molly Santana, Netspend, Osama Sun, Skywater, Rich Amiri, V's, Yappa, JJ, Forbats. Okay, so first of all, I want to say something very clearly. Obviously, the list can't just be SoundCloud rappers and like quote unquote underground rappers, all right? I get that. I totally understand that. But I feel like there should be some representation of every different part of hip hop. Like there should be like a Cash Cobain, Osama Sun, whoever, like Forbats, Forbats is like an industry band, like V's. By the way, I don't care if someone's an industry band, like Skywater maybe, Ian, Netspend, like, you know, there should be a little, I named a bunch of underground rappers, but you get what I mean, like, there should be more, like, Von Off should be in there, you know what I mean, like, that would be harder. I mean, at this point, the XXL Diddy list is better than the actual list. I mean, like, look at these names: Destroy Lonely, Fresh Boy Swag, Summers, Tokyo's Revenge, Lifeless Garments, Autumn, Homicide Pino. They even put Stun Mike in there. And the beats by ADP. Like, which freestyle are you guys listening to? The Diddy list or the 2024 list? Doesn't even need to be said. That's how bad it is. You know, they also like to have female representation. So like Anicia would be perfect for it, you know? Molly Santana too. Like, why do you have some random rapper that blew up off of TikTok that is no way, that's not lasting, like, after like 2025, you know what I mean? If they even make it to that year. The thing is, XXL has ruined their brand so much to the point where I don't even know if these rappers would go onto XXL if they were even invited. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Osama Sun would do maybe he would do XXL. Like, I don't think a lot of these rappers, like, would Netspan do XXL? Like, I don't think he would. You know, I don't know if a lot of these rappers would even do XXL, so it might even be beyond saving. You know, like Baby Kia, Laser Dim, like they could have been on the list, you know, too. But I want to talk about why XXL was so legendary. So I remember the first XXL that I was really into was 2016. That just happened to be the most legendary XXL ever. The reason why it was so legendary to me is because it was like, at the time, old heads were having like a really hard time grasping this new like SoundCloud internet age of rap, right? Internet era of rap. They still are. They just given up. But like, that was the real turning point. So that's what made it so cool. And the 2016 class, everyone in that class has just done really well for themselves. So I'm gonna read an article published in July 29th of 2016 by a guy named Noah Daost, and it's titled "Why I'm Obsessed with This Freshman XXL Cypher." I'm just gonna go through and talk about it. So the XXL magazine catches heat every year for the freshman classes. This year feels like the one that has awoken many sleeping giants to share their opinions on why the new school of rap is terrible and nothing will compare to the golden era of hip hop. So I'm gonna interrupt you. I remember in like 5th or 6th grade, I forget what grade I was in. I would go in like the school Chromebooks and I would listen to this, and I remember scrolling through the comments, and the amount of hate in the comments is crazy. The way YouTube works is it constantly updates comments. So like now if you look back, it's like, oh my god, this is so legendary. It's because everyone that was a kid back then has grown up. But like, I remember thinking it was so hard. Like Uzi's part was so hard. I thought Kodak's was so hard. I thought Yachty's was cool. 21 Savage was like really big that back then. He was like coming up type big, you know. Yachty was like the biggest rapper, you know, because he had those big hits. Uzi was pretty, you know, it was like wow. And they just had their chemistry was so good. Even like Denzel Curry, who doesn't get talked about much, was so good. And they were just getting hated on like crazy. Like, what? These Bumble rappers? Blah, 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 blah. You know, they didn't think it was cool. Anyways, I'm gonna keep going. I get why people don't like this class. People think Lil Yachty is straight up garbage. People are afraid of Kodak Black and 21 Savage. People think Lil Dicky is an industry plant. He was in the same class, but he wasn't in that freshman cypher. But let me tell you why this particular cypher is my favorite one. Let's walk through this whole thing. They talk about Denzel Curry, and he's cool. They talk about Lil Uzi Vert and his energy. They talk about Lil Boat. They talk about 21 Savage. They talk about Kodak Black. But here's what is really special to me. They all came, but this isn't from the article, this is me, myself. They all came from like different areas, you know, like Lil Uzi's from Philly, Denzel Curry's from Florida, Kodak Black's from Florida, Lil Yachty's from Atlanta, 21 Savage is from Atlanta, you know, like Lil Dicky, I don't know, he's probably from Canada or something, I don't know. And they all like had their own different section in rap. Does that make sense? Like one is a little more street, one was a little more emo, one was a little more like crazy, one was a little more, you know what I mean? One was a little more traditional. So it's every little piece of hip hop. And then of course, every single one of here. And here's what this guy says. This collection of artists represents a niche of hip-hop that is only inhabited by themselves. Like it or not, they're trailblazers. In a world where imitation is so very common, these guys have found a way to create something new, and that deserves your respect. So XXL to me are a lot of these like more legendary lists. They were always up-and-coming rappers, but not only did they have potential, they also had like a really, you could see where they fit in the culture and the space and just in the conversation of hip-hop. A lot of these newer XXL picks are just like label picks. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they don't really fit. They're just random people. They're nobodies. You know what I mean? I mean, like, look at the 2016 class. Like, jeez, bro. Lil Yachty, Designer, Dave East, Denzel Curry, G Herbo, Lil Uzi, Lil Dicky, Anderson .Paak, 21 Savage, Kodak Black. God. I mean, Designer fell off, but I think 2013 was really good. But 2016 was stacked. You know what I mean? So here's the thing. I feel like even until like 2019, like I'm gonna show you the 2019 class. The 2019 class was pretty good. It had like Lil Mosey, Gunna. I mean, starting with Lil Mosey didn't really help the case, but Lil Mosey, Gunna, Roddy Ricch, Cordae, DaBaby, Comethazine, Megan Thee Stallion, YK Osiris. I mean, he had a very big hit. Blueface, and they had like one or two. Like what the XXL list comprised of this year. XXL had like one or two of them. I feel like this year nobody cares about any of these artists. They're all so dry. None of these artists have fan bases. I literally am not going to check out the freestyle cypher that they do because I just listened to Hunchos and it was terrible. Oh my god. You know what I mean? Like, the other thing that's so unfortunate about XXL ruining its brand and not being able to pick up the right people to be a part of their cyphers is that they've XXL was such a rare moment for artists to be featured alongside each other. You know, like maybe in recent years, even when they had some big artists, it wasn't that cool, but like just the chance for something like 2016 to happen, like those artists like Uzi, Yachty, 21 Savage, Kodak Black, and Denzel Curry all being in the same like room together freestyling is so crazy. You know what I mean? Then you can even look at the 2017. The 2017 list was also very legendary as well. I'm a little like biased because I'm young and I, you know, only listen really to like, that's when I really got into rap. But like, look at this cipher where it's Playboy Cardi, XXX Tentacion, Ugly God, and Made in Tokyo. Like Playboy Cardi and XXX Tentacion, like come on. X had a very weird freestyle, by the way. They were like, what? They kind of like, they used the weirdest stuff on purpose, but you know, like Lil Pump, Smoke Perp. I'm very confused. It's very interesting to me, like why this is happening, if that makes sense. Like, because they were doing a very good job up until like four years ago. Then all of a sudden became, I remember at first they started putting a lot more female, like woman rappers. Does that make sense? Like, I think the CEO of XXL is a woman or something. I mean, you know, cool. I understand there needs to be some type of representation. And now it's just straight up just like artists that it's very clear that it's just label backed artists at this point. There's not a single lick of actual taste in here. Does that make sense? Like, it's just so bad. This year though, the reason why I made this video is this year the list actually sucks. The only way I could see them ever fixing this, by the way, I'm gonna get to the last part because I don't even know what to say other than it sucks. Like, it's so bad. I don't care about any of these artists. Like, what am I supposed to, you know what I mean? Like, what is there to look forward to with these people? But anyways, the only way I could see them really reviving their brand XXL is, number one, they gotta start tapping in. Like right now, like this year would have been perfect because all like the 2021, 2022, 2023, that all that underground, it's like it started to like snowball. It's like, remember what was really special about 2016 2017, that whole SoundCloud era, is that there was these artists that were smaller than the mainstream rappers, however their fan bases were larger. And that was a result of like the underground scene snowballing all the way from like 2011, you could even say, like SGP and all of that, to like 2016, 2017, to the point where it was like, oh wow, okay, now this entire scene and culture and has formed, right? And it's become almost bigger on the internet and even in real life in some cases than these mainstream rappers even. Their fan base is really bigger, right? And I feel like that's sort of what's approaching with this scene. You see like Osama-san and Netspend have crazy engagement, have crazy fans, and they have a pretty large amount too. They're not some small people. Like, people know about these guys. So if they could just snag one of them, it would have been the perfect moment to revitalize XXL. Maybe they still have a year left. Another thing about XXL that's very sad is that I don't think these artists would even want to be on XXL. Because think about it, like, what do they gain? XXL is kind of corny at this point. I think XXL's brand is still kind of there because of how legendary it is, and they still have a little bit of time to pick it up before it's just ruined. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I'm gonna just end it there. It's very confusing to me what's going on. I didn't even really go too in depth into any of the artists on XXL. There's some people that are cool, like the Mexican OT Cash Cobain. They're all cool. I don't hate any of these artists. I just think that, except that one girl song, that song is terrible. But it's just that for the most part, these artists are just not. Yeah, it's just not the move. And I think everyone would agree with me. I mean, yeah. Anyways, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think of XXL. Personally, I think that they may be beyond saving. If they have someone that's really, really, really tapped in and understands how to curate a good list, and they can really make an effort to kind of revive their brand, cool. I don't think they care. I honestly just don't think they care. Sometimes companies are just very out of touch with their, I don't know if I'm gonna say customers in this case. Maybe I'm gonna just say I'll just say customers. Like, for example, Twitch is notorious. I know it's a very like a random comparison, but like Twitch is notorious for just doing whatever they want, and you know, people don't really care. But in Twitch's case, they own the majority of the market share, and everyone is kind of forced to just watch streamers on that platform. XXL, not really. You know, it was a very cool moment for many years, but I don't think it's just gonna be sad that's not there anymore. But people will forget, you know. So yeah. It is what it is. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.